What's up, y'all? Sparty here. So for this video, what I want to talk about is my experience with the LG Tone-Free True Wireless earbuds that were released, I think last month. And overall my experience with them and comparing them to, say, the Sony WFXB 700s and the AirPods Pro and stuff like that. And how they fare on, say, both Android and iOS. So let's get into this. First off, what I'll commend LG for is the fact that this is a very small case. It does have the issue where the battery, you get 16 extra hours in the case itself, whereas you get 6 hours on each earbud. I do wish there was a little bit more battery life that came out of the case, but overall, I really don't have any issue with it. It's fine. I don't think there's ever really been a time where I haven't had enough battery to at least charge up one earbud fully once. And these buds have fast charging where every 5 minutes you get an hour of use out of it. So that's really nice too. For example, when I'm at work, I'm the one that throws both trucks, right? And typically that's from 9 almost to 2 o'clock. Depending on the load and how terribly they decide to stack the truck and stuff like that. It tends to get sometimes to 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And these will easily last 6 hours on 60% volume while listening to podcasts. Sometimes it'll go a bit over, but yeah, it does indeed do that. And say when I get on break, which is from 2 to 2:30, typically, you just drop them in the case for half an hour, and you have fully charged one bud, and you could use either bud without having to use the other. Whereas say on the Sony WFXB 700s, you could only use the left earbud. These you can use either or. Now they do have the stem AirPod design, and personally for these, it doesn't really bother me that much. It really doesn't. Whereas say on the AirPods Pro, they have this little curve. It's very hard. I'll bring them up. I no longer have the AirPods Pro because I gave them to my girlfriend. But I'll bring them up here real quick. AirPods Pro. What the hell? Why did... Alright, let me do it on here then. For whatever reason, it's disconnected from the Wi-Fi. But, AirPods Pro. Images. Let me try to find them where they're in somebody's ear. Say right here, right? They have this little curve to them, and it looks kind of funky, and it's comfortable. But I'll actually take a picture here real quick with these in my ear just to show you guys how it looks. So let me do that real quick. Yeah, but what you guys can see here is that they don't curve nearly as much as the AirPods do. And they tend to, they don't hug onto this, by your earlobe nearly as much as the AirPods do. So they don't feel nearly as weird on my they don't feel nearly as weird in my ears. So that's totally fine with me personally. If you don't like the douchebaggy AirPods look, then these obviously won't be for you. But for me personally, I don't really care. So long as the earbuds sound good and they actually have a seal, I don't care. So in terms of comfort, for me, these are good. I think I still use them with the ear tips that came on them in the first place. Whereas on the AirPods Pro, I switched to the larger tips, and you can put in different put on different tips on these, but I would advise you to not just toss out the stock ear tips solely because they may, say if you put on bigger ear tips, they may not fit into the into the case. So that's just something that I would say be cautious of there. So let's talk about sound here. These have AAC and SBC playback. For the best in terms of like audio delay, I would stick to SBC. And overall, there's not really that much delay when it comes to like watching YouTube videos or playing games. There are some games that just have this weird delay even when I'm not using, say, Bluetooth earbuds. If I'm just so it really isn't the fault of the phone or the earbuds itself, but there's like very minimal lag. If there is, it's very slight to the point where it's not even that big of a deal. And they're honestly not bad in terms of that. In terms of sound, what I will say is don't expect these to have booming bass. They're tuned by Meridian and they have this like very, I wouldn't say flat, I would say a more natural sound signature to where they don't, not that they don't sound pleasing, that's definitely not what it is, but to where you're not necessarily going to get the most booming bass out of every song. Now, what I did and what I figured out, you have 4 presets here, right? You got immersive, which is basically the one I would stick with when you're listening to podcasts and stuff like that. Bass boost doesn't really boost the bass all that much. Boost the bass all that much. So I wouldn't really bother with that. But what I did is go to the custom and I set up this profile right here. And this gives me a good amount of bass. It's not going to give you like Sony extra bass earbuds level of bass. Don't expect that. But it gives you a good amount of bass without sacrificing too much detail. And this is honestly the perfect, preset that I have when I want to listen to music. When I want to listen to, all right. When I want to listen to podcasts, I just stick to immersive mode. But when I want to listen to, music, I just go to custom one, and it's just right there too. The app is very nice too. You get stuff like, get the touchpad settings here, you can set it up. I have it to where one tab is volume up, one tab is volume down. That used to be just play pause on both. Double tap is still previous and next. Triple tap is voice command, and press and hold is ambient mode. The ambient mode is it's fine. Like, it's totally serviceable for basic stuff. Like, say you're going into a store and you just want to, buy something or something like that. You turn on ambient mode and say you're listening to a podcast while ambient mode is on, it'll be totally fine. Music, you really won't hear anything in the outside. So I would just pause your music and then just use it like that. But overall, it's decent. It gets the job done. And that's all that really matters. And these literally controls everything. So as you guys can see, you can do play, pause, voice control, volume up, down, previous track, next track, or you could just choose to have it be off. And typically, there are a lot of earphones, say like the Apple AirPods Pro, for example, where you don't get the option to turn volume up or down. You could just skip to the next track, skip to the previous track, play and pause, right? And that's pretty much it. What I did and why there's no play pause here is that it has smart sensors, which I could probably get you guys to see here on the earbuds themselves. You see it right there, that circle. The OnePlus 6T does not want to focus. As you guys can probably see, like right here, it has smart sensors, so when you remove it from your ear, they'll just, I can't do that. It'll not allow you to use the app then. Once you do that, it'll pause the music. So that works pretty much Well, the problem is, say, if you have them out for a little bit too long, they won't. Sometimes they won't play the music or play the podcast again, so that's a bit of an issue. But overall, for me, that's fine. I'll just go back to the app. I'll just go to the notification shade and just press play on whatever, and it'll be fine like that. Software updates here. I don't know why this phone disconnected from the Wi-Fi, but let me do this real quick. I just watched the LG Wing announcement. That thing looks really cool. I kind of want it. Oh, there's an update. Let's see what it does. But yeah, overall, I think the app is really nice. I don't know if I can leave this screen, but it gives you a user manual as well, so it tells you what exactly, what you can do with them and stuff like that in the app itself. So that's really nice as well. Like, there really isn't anything about these that I don't like. The only thing that I don't really like is I wish it came with like a little bit more battery, like say maybe 7 hours. But overall, I really do enjoy them. If you're a bass head, these aren't for you. I would say these aren't for you. If you want a more natural, punchy bass, but you don't want it overbearing, I would say I'll put my custom EQ into the comment section to let you guys know what it is. But say if you're coming from like Sony extra bass earbuds, you're not going to be satisfied. That's not what these are. They're fairly detailed. They have a good amount of detail. It was to the point where I thought, are these on the level of my short tapes? Then I put in my short tapes and no, they're not. Like every time I put in my short tapes, they sound better. And it's like, I was like, yeah, no. But these sound really nice. I'm not trying to say that they don't. They have a very natural sound. I do wish volume was a little bit better. Though, to be fair, the isolation is so good that you can't really hear anything outside. So noise cancellation, to me, is not that big of a deal. Compared to what a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't have noise cancellation. And these are $100. There are 3 different versions. You have the version with the wireless charger, with the case being able to have with Qi wireless charging, and you have the tier above that, which has the wireless charging and the UV nano case. So these are $100. I think the wireless charge is $130, and the wireless charger plus UV nano is $150. But I think on LG's site they're discounted by 20%, so they're a little bit less than that. I bought these with my own money. I got them off Amazon. On Amazon, they only have the base version and they have the wireless charging version. They don't have the UV nano version, and they come in black and white now. So that's really nice. These have quite. There's a lot of updates for this. What else? The touch controls are kind of, I wouldn't say finicky, but they take a bit to get used to. Like they're basically like on like the top of the earbud. It's not the whole stem, which I kind of wish it was, right? But that's fine too for me personally. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just something that takes a bit to get used to. And you get the option to have the phone read out text messages and stuff, or even like Hangouts messages and all that, and it'll tell you what comes up. Sometimes it'll tell you, sometimes on the text message, for example, if you're using like the Google Messages app, it'll tell you, it'll tell you the message twice, which is kind of annoying. But the one thing I wish the app did have is I wish it had the battery level of the case in here. But say when you do close the case, it does give you a battery indicator right there. And as you guys can see, the app closed. So let me reconnect it and it goes back. And let me try and find the user manual here. Come on, dude. Okay, there we go. That tells you the stock controls. that tells you all the charger. Place the earbuds in the charging case. This tells you the battery levels, which more than 80 is blue, 20 to 80 is purple, and red is 20% and less. I do wish there were a little bit more percentage levels in terms of colors, but that's fine. Say 50%, I wish it was like orange or something. But, you know, it's totally fine to just have those. They're basically the stock, like, LG tone battery percentage level stuff, so it's totally fine. In terms of call quality, it's good. People were able to hear me totally fine. I was able to hear people totally fine. Nothing was really wrong with that. Say you don't want to use the touchpad, you can lock it. Here's the notification settings, and you can have it to read it out fast, normal, or slow. I have it fast just so it doesn't bother me all that much. And you got to find your earbuds and stuff like that. And overall, this is something that I will say about these that I really do enjoy a lot. For LG to come out with these are basically the tone-free 3.0, because there were the tone-frees that were like still in the neck band, but they were actually true wireless earbuds, and the neck band just acted as the charging cradle. There was the ones that came before this that basically looked like the Sony true wireless earbuds that have noise cancellation. I can never, that name is never, it escapes me every time. But those ones, and they were open back and all that stuff, and they were to a lot of people. Then there are these, and these I feel are the right direction for LG to go. What I would say is that for the improvements I want LG to do is battery life. I want more battery on the even if you don't have noise cancellation, I really don't care. The isolation on these are really good in itself, and when you play music, you hear nothing. So to me, that's fine. So maybe like 7 to 8 hours on each earbud would be fine, and you probably put maybe 30 to 40 hours in the case, even if you have to bulk up the case. Because I will say, this is a very small case, and let me give you guys a comparison between this and the XB700s. Okay, look at the XB700 case and look at this case. Look how much, small and compact this is. What I do like about both of these is, say, compared to the AirPods Pro case, the AirPods Pro case has the problem where, since it's that glossy plastic, it gets scratched easily. I finally got scratches on the bottom of this case after almost a month of use. Whereas the AirPods Pro case, what happened was they would just... like hour one into having them, there was a gash on the front of the case. Not a gash, it wasn't that bad, but there's a scratch on the front of the case where the battery indicator is. And then there were like little micro scratches on the bottom by the lightning port and stuff like that. So I prefer this like matte finish. And I prefer this hard plastic too, because as you guys can see, it's dinged up, but it's still functional, right? And I really do like these. And I like how they're presented. You open it up and it's presented to you like this. It looks like I like these a lot as well. But on the iPhone, let's talk about this. You only get AAC playback on the iPhone, I believe. And they sounded good on here too. There really isn't any... I really don't have any problem with how they sound on the iPhone either. But I did have a little bit of connection issues where sometimes one earbud would take a bit to connect and stuff like that. But overall, what I also prefer these over the AirPods Pro is that the AirPods Pro, the moment you open the case, they start to connect, and say you instantly close it like that, they don't turn off right away. Whereas the moment you just flip the case back down on here, they turn off. whereas they take a bit on the AirPods Pro. These I prefer even more because it's okay, you do this, and then you take the earbud out, and that's when they start to connect. That's something I prefer. But overall, you could use them on either or. These do have Google Fast Pairing as well, so any Android phone that's on your account will connect to these. And when I first opened these, like my Note 10 flared up, my 6T flared up, my G8 flared up. It was like, okay, cool. But I just use them primarily with my V60 because that's the phone that I use. So, yeah, overall, these are a really solid option. Would I say they're the best? No. But for me personally, I feel they give me what I want. I'm not going to use these for music all that much because I just use my Shure tapes or my 10P1s or my Sennheiser HD650s if I actually want to listen to music. But these are definitely a solid option for podcasts, which is definitely what I use. True wireless earbuds. I've always used Bluetooth headsets for that, right? Since like the Tone Platinums, you know, all those, and like Tone, like they have a soft spot in my heart, and I'm glad they keep making them because a lot of people do buy Tones. They are pretty popular. So yeah, they have a good amount of clarity too. So I really don't get any distortion on these. Where there's some distortion while listening to podcasts, and on the AirPods Pro there was a little bit too. So yeah, overall that's what I want to talk about. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Monday, whatever time of day it is in the area. Have a good one.